There's one part that I found really interesting in the book actually, and it's the part where you talk about like kind of like your stats. You have a table in there that tabulates how many matches you got, how many first moves and all that, and I have the numbers here. But so can you comment on your own stats and how do you think it like compares to other women, other men? Because you talk about how some men are like, oh, those numbers are great compared to us, or some women are could even be jealous. So like, what are your thoughts on like the stats that you kind of got from these apps?
Well, it's not from these apps, it's just from one app. Those stats are specifically from
Bumble,
Bumble.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it
Yeah.
got 27, 13, like total matches, and on that app, on the hetero version, until very, very recently, women had to make all the first moves. As I talk about in the book, I exerted an inordinate amount of labor and time trying to connect with at least 113 men. That's the amount of initial conversations that I extended, and a full 40% of those were ignored. So 40%, that's almost half. So the app is not effective, despite all of the marketing, narrative that it's easy, fun, and effective, a great way to connect. It felt like additional labor for me for nothing, for very little return. I only met 10 men in real life in 5 months, which did not feel like anything close to the amount of time and energy that I spent trying to connect with people. So it was very, very frustrating. Yes, I've written about these stats before, and a lot of men have said, what are you bitching about? These are great. I would kill for these. And that's fine. I'm talking about this within the context of my life. I'm not saying that they're more than what other people have, or that they're less, or that, I'm a big deal because I got these stats. My point in sharing these numbers was to really poke holes in the gleaming narrative about how effective and how easy these apps are. It's not true. I had to spend so much time, so much energy, get like sexualized, objectified, turned down, ghosted, catfished to meet 10 people in 5 months. In the analog days, I expended far less energy for far greater return. That's kind of the point of the graph, not to brag about the numbers or say they're better or worse, right? But to demonstrate how ineffective the apps are, contrary to what they market themselves as.
Yeah, and that's why I found it fascinating. And like when I was reading the book, like I understood like what your goal with this was. Like you said, it's not to show off or whatever. It's just to show because here it says you had 2,371 unique matches, and then you only got 67 replies out of the 113 that you reached out to. So that's like ridiculous, So
Yes.
it just proves your point that in a way, like you have so many profiles that you can navigate, but like what are you really gonna get in return? 10 people? It's not really what their marketing is, just so good that people fall into the trap.
People should have more realistic expectations of what they're getting into. Yeah.